Alright, we are back with the world's most random burn list. And yeah, this should be an entertaining one if nothing else. So the list is by Karatizer, who had a 5-0 league somewhat recently, with a whole bunch of one-ofs, for lack of a better term. He has 4 random one-of creatures. He or she had good enough for this trade. Yawgmoth is easily the best deck in the format right now, or one of the 3. So it's a deck that I suspected, along with Rhinos and Amulet, would probably become or vie for the most broken crap going on in the modern format now that Scam has not been banned, but it's been nerfed. So Alright, we'll see if they go ahead and block with wall. Ignobles helps their mana, but they have the 2 black pips they need for Yawgmoth anyway, so, or Shoulder It or any of that nonsense, so. Opponent still has 5 cards in hand, so we're definitely not winning an attrition game. Strangerroot Yeast. Do they start trying to race, or do they just start playing blockers? Apparently, none of the above. Doing this to reduce the amount of cards my opponent can draw off a Yawgmoth or something. The one risk of this particular hand, obviously, is something like Blood Artist going unanswered because we spent our Bolt. So, holding on to our land because in case we draw, as unlikely as it is, if we draw a 3rd copy of Searing Blaze, I want to be able to landfall it. Okay, opponent hit a Grist and then flips a Yawgmoth. So, if they have a Soul Cauldron, they could potentially cast it here. Nope, another Ignoble. So they're swinging 3, I presume. Oh, they're swinging 4, so I think we have to chump block. Let's buy ourselves as much time as possible. Land or non-land. Okay, this is exactly what I was talking about. So I think Yawgmoth is probably going to end up becoming the de facto best deck, but I don't know that it will ever approach the 20 or 25 or 30% that Rakdos Scam was doing, simply because Yawgmoth requires a little bit more skill to play. So there's a Bowmasters, so that sets them up for a Chord. Yeah, interesting. Okay. So that does 1 additional damage either which way. Ironically, I think we might be dead next turn because of all the creatures in the graveyard. So we do need to top deck a burn spell here, or even a Roiling Vortex, I guess, would technically do it. Alright, well. Ding, fries are done. Alright, so let's take a look at this eclectic mix of things. One Eidolon, one Lavamancer, one Bone Crusher Giant, one Monkey, sideboard, one Stone of Irek, one Grim Lavamancer. These could be relevant. Blood Moon, and this could end up being relevant just to mess with their mana because they're not expecting it out of burn. Firewalker does nothing. Sanctifier and Vac, most of their creatures are green, and they don't have Drill's Messenger, so it's kind of useless anymore. Smash is relevant. In some cases, the Yawgmoth decks do play Chalice, and sometimes they bring it in against burn. But Ensnaring Bridge is a maybe. Sanctifier or Sancti, Engineered Explosives. So I think board out Monkey, board out Bone Crusher, board out Eidolon. Grim Lavamancer makes some sense. These make some sense. Stone over Rock makes some sense. Vortex is okay to middling. Some of these lists are cutting the Shouldered. So I guess we'll take out Skewer the Critics. Okay, this hand is... One land hands on the draw are a little bit more acceptable, but still a bit risky. I do think we're going to keep this hand because we do have 4 1-mana plays, but... Slow them down a little bit. Then they'll turn around and have Wall of Roots anyway, so... Oh, Sternward Geist. Land? Nope. So we are going to die to lack of lands. Bridge isn't as good against Yawgmoth because of, you know, the combo and everything else. So opponent could easily have Endurance or Bowmaster here, so looks like Endurance. Yep, Cord for 1. Okay, is this Yawgmoth into Yawgmoth? Game over? They're moving fast, so I think we're dead here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, show me which one you're playing with, and then we'll concede. Alright, that's game. Relic just isn't good enough because of the way they can stack their graveyard usually. Vortex, not so much. Eidolon on the play might be a consideration. Skewer on the draw over Bone Crusher, maybe? And then go down to one bridge on the draw. It's just a generically good burn hand. Especially if my opponent for some reason doesn't have a play on one. Which your deck sometimes doesn't have, so. Mm-hmm. Opponent chooses to block, that's fine. It's the same as if we pointed a burn spell at their delighted halfling. So, Monster Swiftspear was basically a Boros term this game. Opponent could have Grist here, but looks like they're just going to go Stormlord Geist or another Walls. Okay. Just going to go ahead and main phase this. Boros Charm your face. Choose 6. Choose 3. Three is not dead, but we have no reason to attack, so pass. Mm-hmm. I don't know if we're Concord for just about anything. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep. So. They cord for here. Okay, there's nothing you can do here that I care about. And top deck a burn spell and use next 2 draw steps. Well, next 2 draws. I see. Well, wasn't that a funny joke? Alright, Eclectic Burn wins match 1 against the best deck in the format. Yay! Alright, Eclectic Burn, match number 2. Sure, why not? Earthbolt into Eidolon, or Earthbolt into Searing Blaze, depending on whatever our opponent's on. Things of comfort and joy. Tidings of comfort and joy. Goodbye to Dragon Rage's Channeler. Don't know what my opponent's up to, but it looks like some Izzet crap. Leisure Shredder versus some burn spells. Can my opponent bolt this Eidolon? Oh no. Okay. Not sure why you hold up a... Okay, that makes more sense now. Okay. Alright, so they balanced Eidolon simply so they could play Dragon Rage. That doesn't make much sense. Like, they took 2 damage to temporarily answer it, only to have to turn around and answer it again. Opponent with a lot of basics for what looks to be a variant of Izzet Murktide. Tapping out of all your blue for a Murktide Regent. Okay, so either you have Force of Negation or you're dead. Got it. Pretty sure even with Force of Negation, you're just dead. So... good to connive, at least. Alright. This might be okay. Don't really like Lavamancer in this matchup. Relic might be okay. It's not usually a card I have in my sideboard for the style of matchup. Sanctifier, not so much. EE could be okay. Eidolon on the draw is pretty bad. Roiling Vortex is pretty bad. One Lavamancer, I'm not opposed to it, but it can get a little weird. I think on the draw we'll board it out. And then Firewalker doesn't make much sense. Sanctifier is middling in the matchup. Just go with Relics and Bridges. Who did they target bobble? Target themselves. Okay, let's play monkeys, see if they have an answer. Looks like I'm gonna get hit with a stern scolding. Of course I am. So I should have just played Suspended Riftbolt like I thought. But at least they did themselves 3 damage, right? Oh, poor unfortunate opponent. They didn't get to use their mana this turn. How sad. Huh? 3 mana? Oh, Blood Moon. Sure. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. One does get to his for 6. I'm gonna try to replay it. I think it's gonna get countered. Snapcaster, Spell Pierce. This isn't quite lethal, so if we draw a burn spell next turn, we might be able to kill him still. 3/6. Yeah, they're way too reliant on Blood Moon. So they had a burn spell off our deck, we are dead. At least one that isn't Searing Blaze. The irony. They just have Bolt. Okay. So since they insist on leaving in Blood Moon against us, we'll just board out all of our red, non-mono red cards. Does that mean we bring in Vortex back in? We bring in Engineered Explosives. Stone over Rock. And 1 Vortex. Sure. No lander, can't keep. Alright, this hand is a bit painful, but we'll manage. Guess we'll put back one of the Rift Bolts. Or do we put back the Stone over Rock? Eric. Mm-hmm. Yep, it's a lot of basics. And what the heck. Sure. EI, let's go. Probably should have bolted in response to this. We literally have no reason to make a move here, so not gonna. This does somewhat open us up to Ragavan Dash, I guess. But there's nothing in our deck anymore that can, like, swing the action back the other way. Because there's no longer a Lightning Helixes in our deck. Opponent just going to cast a Murktide Regent. Nope. Snapcaster, nothing. Got it. Oh, give me a burn spell here. Let's just end this. Okay, not the most exciting of cards, but we'll try it. EI and EI. Suspect they don't have any more basics to find, so this is probably going to find us Steam Vents. They go for Flame here. I think we're incentivized to torch the graveyard simply because of a large Murktide Regent. But Flame of Anor to end this. No. Okay. Mm-hmm. This feels really embarrassing to play Grim Lavamancer at this point in the game. Even Snapcaster in here. Flame of Anor. Okay. That was dumb. I just lost the game. I should have activated Stone of a Rock. Alright, let's hope some way they don't have a counterspell in their hand. Oh, none of it matters anyway. Yep, should have activated Stone of a Rock. We would have, I don't know if we would have won that game, but our opponent wouldn't have won this in this particular setup, so. Alright, match 3 with Eclectic Burn, for lack of a better term of it. Opponent's on a companion, most likely Kira. Oh, Giganta. Well, this is certainly a magical hand. Ren's Resolve. What does that one do? Oh, this is against good old-fashioned... Okay. Opponent snap conceded, so we know they're likely on a variant of Obosh Red, not Obosh Red, Hayashi Red, so they're the what is that stupid deck? The green-red storm, whatever nonsense deck. I thought they were on Hayashi red, but no, they're just on. Just pass, continuing to hold up Searing Blaze here. Ah, seek the beast. Kill the beast. Kill the beast. Boop. The sad part is, I'm not sure that we would have won the Murktide matchup, but I had an onboard way to blank the Snapcaster Mage, and I still screwed up. So. Let's go ahead and deal with this before they can start going nuts. No. Not sure if this is a Aspiring Spike creation. I know he's worked on the deck. I don't remember what all it does. I know it's an Underworld Breach nonsense pile, etc. I know that Questing Druid can get quite large in the deck, etc. So. Suspend Riftbolt. Suspend Riftbolt. Pass. This feels like kind of against a Storm variant almost. I'm pretty sure it involves Monkey, etc. Left on top, whatever it was. Questing Druid, sure. Alright. Quick 2-0 win. Alright, match number 4. No land, or 1 lander on the draw. Just don't think we can risk this particular hand. I mean, this is a 1 lander as well, but at least it does stuff. Honestly, Lavamancer is the put back here. Okay, Mono Red Prowess makes a return. Light up the stage or lava dirt? Okay. This is the kind of matchup that you really don't want to be taking extra damage. I'm going to leave this back. So when you're behind against Mono Red Prowess, you want to force them to use a burn spell. To deal with your creature. Now the opponent might be holding back burn spells here to try to not die to... okay, that I am perfectly accepting of that outcome. So I was expecting them to have held back burn spells, but instead we are here. Still think we're losing this match, but or not this match, this game, because one of the downsides of double Fiery Islet Sunbay Canyon is you just take an insane amount of damage. Really need to draw a land. Okay, well. Confirmed. Going after... Oh, it's going after our face. Okay. We're taking at least one here, possibly two. Need to draw an untapped land. That works. And somehow hope our opponent just draws all mountains. Okay, well, I was wondering what random matchup I would want the one of Leyline Sanctity actively in. Pretty sure this is one of them. We'll bring in that. We'll bring in Engineered Explosives, Sanctifier, and Core Firewalker. Whirling Vortexes can go down. Relics are cute. I don't think they're good in this matchup. Bridges might be fine. Eidolon on the play is okay. Don't know that I want the second Grim Lavamancer, but I still might because they're still effectively a creature deck. Though those Lava Darts do give me pause. Boros Charm is a non-creature thing. Just like to play first. Risky, but I think we have to mulligan this one. This hand at least has an upside. Right. I'm curious how you beat a Core Firewalker. I know they have a Swift Spear in hand, so I don't understand why they're doing what they're doing, but... Yep. Get mutagenic growth, more power to him, I guess, but... My opponent's playing the Eclectic Mountain game, I'll give him that much. I could have Bone Crusher Giant here, but... What we want to do is force our opponent to deal with our one-drop creatures, and then ideally engineered explosives and deal with their one-drops. No reason really to do anything here. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Taking a lot of damage. Lots of things kill us here. Pretty sure Bolt does it. Okay. Alright. Unfortunate loss. Alright, match 5. It's Kruga. Yeah, hand with double Searing Blade is probably not good against a Kruga deck. Yeah, if you have Dead Gone, you should probably cast it now. I don't even know what deck would be playing Kruga right now. Some type of elemental strategy. But it just seems like they would want... I don't know, Kruga's just too dangerous in a format like Modern right now. Yeah, there's the Dead Gone. You should have cast that last turn. That said, we still need to kill them before they have an Omnath, but... It's into 7. So they're at 4, a virtual 4. It's either Risen Reef or Teferi, most likely. Fable the Mirrorbreaker. Could this be... There's no way this is... No, it's not Creativity, because Creativity wouldn't have that series of lands, so... Burn spell, please. Qualifies as a burn spell. Let's actually go ahead and upkeep this. So the reason to upkeep this is if they have Force Negation, they can't actually cast it currently. So... They can do that, I guess, which, no timing to play around that, so. Leyline Binding. Fable? No, Teferi. Which is fine. That fetch land's useless. I do think they should have probably held on to the Stomping Ground. But what do I know? Alright. It's unlikely our opponent can play Omnath this turn. They would need... Suspend search for tomorrow. You have force of negation? You do not. Okay. What Karuga deck plays search for tomorrow? So 2 Blood Moon effects seem reasonable. Don't think I need the Chalice Busters this game. Leyline's not really relevant. Sanctity can slow them down, but it's not really the kind of game we want to be playing. Lavamancer, I'm not sure. Like, Searing Blaze has Fable and maybe you know, I should leave Searing Blaze in over the red, or over the some of the white cards if I'm bringing in our Blood Moon effects. All right. Alright, this hand seems pretty reasonable against what's going on over there. Looks like they don't have a dead god or anything, so we're just gonna do this. So that gives them 4 card types, or 4 domain types. Not looking we can really afford to play around. Especially the way our hand's currently developing. Yeah, they could easily have Leyline Binding here, which would be unfortunate, but it just is what it is. Looks like this is going to be Teferi instead, which does time walk us, but just yeah, I played that backwards. Now if our opponent wants to Solitude, they have to Solitude it now. Should have played this first. I'm going to go ahead and knock out their Teferi, because this could end up being a long enough game that knocking out Teferi kind of matters. Or we could easily have Omnath Annie here, which would force us to... Okay, sure. Feels like this is going to be either Endurance or something kind of useless. I could easily see them bordering it. The question is, what are they going after with this binding? That's annoying. Okay. Looks like we're boarding in Wear Tear. So they're drawing Fire Ice. We know they have Plains in hand. They're keeping up 2 lands, which is kind of annoying. So it's walking right into the Fire Ice, and I'm well aware of that fact. But at least it forces them to use 2 resources, so. If they draw an Omnath, we're dead. So maybe that was not. I don't know that not attacking with Swiftspear was any different there, but pitches another Fable and a Forest. I honestly think they'd want to hold on to the basic Forest. So, is there anything that we could grab here? I think we grab Untap Sacred Foundry just in case. Okay, well, that works as a card, I suppose. Yeah, Force of Negation. Solitude, something. I mean, you could ice into something here. Doesn't work. Nice try, though. Alright, so quick wrap on this league. Now normally I wouldn't advocate this as the most scientific way to build a burn sideboard, and I certainly wouldn't build it that necessarily this way. But I think there is some merit to just sideboarding outside the box. So, I mean, from your typical burn list, or from your pre-burn or banning burn list, these 5 cards would not be in your list. You would have 2 additional vortices, some other land, a fetch land, basically usually a fetch land. And then your sideboard would look vastly different. Now, 2 things I will say. The relics, I'm a huge fan of going back to true graveyard hate. Again, against Living End, helping up against Murktide, those kind of things. The Stone of Erek, it would have bailed us out in the Murktide matchup if I would have played that correctly. But I don't know. This is primarily good against like the Scan things, and it might be okay against Yawgmoth with their Undying Creatures, so I can see that being a relevant thing of text. These 3 cards, kind of a necessity. Having some amount of red hate is perfectly fine. Blood Moon and Megas give you a different angle of attack, give you maybe a prayer against a deck like Yawgmoth, or not Yawgmoth, against a deck like Amulet, especially since they're not expecting a Blood Moon out of burn. So I don't necessarily hate this approach. The one of Leyline Sanctity, now, basically, you're going to bring it against the burn matchup, you're going to bring it against any Prowess style matchups, and you might bring it in against any remnants of Scam. There is both a Persist Rakdos variant out there and a Orzhov variant that people are iterating on. You might consider that for those matchups. Not sure or sold on this one. Grim Lavamancer theoretically makes sense, but Lava Man was already bad even before MH2 when creature decks were somewhat reasonable because there's just so many ways to answer it. I don't know about having a second one in my 75, but certainly a card is a little bit fun, but I mean, it answers Rhinos, or a wave of Rhinos. It answers Urza Saga tokens, but you could easily want a Chalice in the slot. There's a lot of things you could mess with this. Bridge is a weird one, right? So you want it in matchups where your opponent's trying to attack you to death. So Merfolk and don't know about the Elementals decks. Murktide, Scam variants, Death and Taxes, Humans. The problem is, like, much like the old like random cards like Clothis that used to see some play and burn, there's just so many incidental answers to it anymore that yes, it will buy you a couple of turns potentially, but most decks incidentally are going to have hate against it, like Flame of Anor or Leyline Binding, or just have an alternative way of attack like Yawgmoth with their Zulaport Cutthroat or Blood Artist draining you out. The angle of attack with Cauldron. So I do still like this in theory, but it's not. It will buy you a couple of turns, but it's not a game ender. So, as crazy as it is, I wonder if approaching burn building like this is just something to do. Like, traditional burn hasn't been doing great for some amount of time, and I wonder if this just kind of eclectic random assortment of cards that your opponent has to play around just isn't fun as just like a one of random things, like, you know, getting a Thunderous Wrath in here, or a Shardless Ball, or Shardless, you know, whatchamacallit Valley, Shard Volley, card that I hate but could be okay as a one of. I don't know that you want to go down too many Roiling Vortexes. I still think you want a minimum of 3, because I think Rhinos is still one of the better decks in the format. I think Living End could make a comeback. It has applications against decks like Amulet, against decks like Mill. So there's still, against the Elementals decks, which are still going to, or the Omnath Pile decks, which are still going to exist. I saw somebody who was even messing with Ancestral Visions? Ancestral Visions, the suspend draw 3. So in place of Cascade Bean. So I don't know that I would completely cut the Roiling Vortices from the main. I might go a 2 1/3 in the board, but I do think this is, I wanted to point this list out because it was an interesting way to approach burn, and it is very much outside the box, and burn might need to go do some cheesy things, you know, like cheesing people out with a Ragavan, having access to things like Blood Moon and Magus of the Moon. I know that's not fair, and on a power level, I would like to beat people straight up, but I think burn could use a few new wrinkles in its somewhat worn out trick list. So I think it might be time to experiment with random X card just to see in the current open meta, although I don't expect it to stay open for very long. I do expect Yawgmoth, Amulet, Rhinos, Coffers, Tron, those decks to kind of become the centerpiece of the format. And then the format kind of developing around that. You know, Murktide will make a comeback. Living In will be there. Creativity might make a comeback, although Creativity was not the best even before, with just the One Ring and Bowmasters in the format. So, format's shaken up. It's shaken, but not quite stirred yet. So, we'll see how the format goes. But if you like burn content, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Hope to see you for our next video.